All right, so hey, what we wanted to do, we're not going to be long, I promise.
Yeah,
but-
because you guys might want more food.
Yeah.
If y'all want seconds while we're talking, just do it. It's fine.
Absolutely.
Just-
I mean, it would be no
hold it.
different than Sunday morning. People walk in and out and up and down all Sunday morning, so I'm used to it.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that
Please
our church,
get more food. Yes.
our church has collectively the smallest bladder on the face of the planet, and also we serve a lot of coffee. It's a terrible combination. So it's not good. So what we wanted to do is just talk about a couple of things as it relates to marriage, relationships, but marriage specifically, and how to be or become a power couple. And really, there's just kind of two themes. You want to share those with us, or you want to do the first one? And then
Well,
dive in?
actually, I want to get my notes because I don't want to.
Oh.
I'm ADD, unlike you, babe, and so I'm going to get a table and put my iPad up because I don't want to forget to say something really good that I planned.
But you know what's so funny is Shelly is she's not anti-technology, but she doesn't really embrace technology the same way that I do. But all of a sudden, for some reason, she got an iPad and she got her fancy
Well, it's
little...
because you got a new one and gave me your old one.
No.
That's
not
how it works
this
at our
works.
house. Chris gets
It's
new
not how
stuff
this-
and I get his.
Because she doesn't want it, she doesn't use it. But then she got her fancy little pen to go with it.
Let me get all this.
Now she's making all these fancified notes.
I always make notes.
Yeah, but not like doodly notes, like fancy.
I didn't bring that.
Yeah,
I didn't
you
bring
should
that.
have. Anyway.
I just don't want to forget to say this cool stuff that I planned. Okay.
So listen, if it wasn't up to me, if it wasn't for me, you guys would be here for the next 4 hours because Shelly has like lists
I
of
was like,
things that she wants to talk
these
about.
are my thoughts on marriage. What should we share at Power Couples?
I'm
He was
like,
like,
we got to truncate this. We got to shorten
he's
it.
like, I'm thinking like 2 of these.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
was like,
do
that's
2 of
cool.
those.
I can save it.
Yeah. So let's go.
I
First
love
point.
marriage.
I hope so.
I love marriage.
Yeah.
I think marriage is a blessing from God.
Okay, let's start
It
there.
is.
Why-
It's a blessing. So I
why
love
then-
to talk about it.
Why then do you think in culture that marriage, it seems like it oftentimes is looked, maybe not down upon, but it's certainly not celebrated or honored in the way that we believe that it should? Why do you think that is?
I think it's because people see their parents' marriage
Yeah.
that's dead, failing, they've fallen out of love, and they're like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, that's
very
what I
true.
think. I don't know.
And I think you see so much dishonor too in relationships in general. And oftentimes that's kind of what we highlight, like the people that we quote unquote look up to or people who are prominent. They have unsuccessful relationships, and we think that that's par for the course of the norm. And then we're like, well, I don't really want to do that. Right. So maybe there's not disdain, but certainly not honor for relationships to the degree that I think that they should be. Yeah. All right, so our first that was all set up. That was all preview for what we're about to talk about. So the first point is this: relationships are, by definition, right? It is 2 people, 2 very unique individuals trying to make this thing work. And so, kind of our first point is that marriage is brutal on selfish people. It is brutal on selfish people. And what's really difficult or unfortunate about that is that I think we all probably find varying degrees of selfishness in us. Yeah. So how do we make a relationship, how do we make marriage work, even though we probably all have kind of a tendency or an inclination towards selfishness? What do we do?
Yeah, I mean, it's our human nature, right? To be selfish, to protect ourselves, to get things for ourselves, to do things for ourselves. And when you get married, you become one. And so it's like, oh, okay. So like Chris said, like if you're selfish, marriage is brutal on selfish people. And honestly, like if you have single friends that are selfish, please tell them just to stay single. Yeah. And don't get married. Because like it's the worst thing you can do, like if you're selfish. But let's say you are selfish and now you're married. Now what, right? Well, I think the way that we can overcome selfishness is by serving one another. When you serve someone, it's a very humbling experience, which, I mean, even the Bible tells us that Jesus came not to be served, but to serve. And so I'm like, okay, if Jesus can serve humanity, we can serve our spouse. Like, that's all, we can do that.
Yeah, so those are kind of, to me, I always come back to that verse. It's Mark 10:45, what Shelley was talking about. It's like, even Jesus, the Son of Man, did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many. And yet so often, in spite of that kind of being the model for our relationships within Christianity, you still find a lot of selfishness in relationships. So what are some practical things that people can do to serve as opposed to being selfish?
Well, I was thinking like morning routine, for example, like typically.
I'll be honest with you guys. We've been talking about this, and it kind of offended me because, like, when I get up in the morning, I don't know how you are in the morning. Like, when I wake up in the morning, I'm business. Like, I got things to do, and just the amount of time that I have or I need to do the things that I need to do so I can get my tail out the door and go do the things I got to do. And so we were talking about this, and I was like, I don't like this very much. Just so everybody's
Yeah, but I
clear.
was just thinking, like, your morning routine, for example, like, That's a great way to start the day with serving. Like, hey, babe, before I leave the house, is there anything you need me to do? Like, oh, I got a list. Let me go get it.
And
No.
so this is the problem in our relationship. That's generally when she asks me to do things, when I'm walking out of the door. And I'm like,
That's when I remember it.
oh, so yes.
Like, oh, before you leave. But, I mean, I think that's a great way to serve each other. Is like, hey, before I leave, is there anything I can do for you? Or is there, hey, in the morning, if you need a set time, hey, in the morning when you wake up, before you leave, is there anything that you need me to do? And then you can allot extra time, you know.
That's really good. I'll give you guys just, I mean, I know that's practical, but like very specifically practical. One thing that Shelly does every night, almost every night, is.
I forgot last night.
Yeah, that's why I said almost.
That's why he said almost.
Almost every night. She does the whole like pre-makes the coffee so that it has a timer and it comes on in the morning. And listen, I think you guys are very well aware of my affinity for coffee. Love coffee. So when I walk
and your
in,
love language is acts of service.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
so when I walk into the kitchen and the coffee's ready, I'm like, I'm good, right? Life is good. So then the least I can do then is to make her a cup of coffee and take it back. And so she gets to share in that. So like little things that you can do to serve each other. Small. I mean, it doesn't have to, I think that's one of the things that we're guilty of is assuming that they have to be these grand gestures all the time.
you
I
would
think-
be surprised.
Yeah.
If you start your day off by serving each other, it just sets you up to have an unselfish day towards your spouse.
I think one of the other ways that we could do that, just to kind of reorient our mind or mentality about our significant other, is I think you're the one that told me this, but it was the 5 minutes of empathy a day changes a relationship. And I was like, that's so true. And so 5 minutes, like obviously you've got your stuff going on and you're carrying the weight of whatever you had to deal with that day. But if at the end of the day or when you guys get settled in and you take 5 minutes, how was your day? What's going on? How did that make you feel?
Well, and this is why I think a lot of marriages go from, oh, we're so in love to like, yeah, we're just in this right now and we don't hate each other at all.
Yeah.
We're not arguing, but it's like your marriage becomes business. You know what I'm talking about? What time do the kids get out of school? Who's picking up the kids? When did the baby have his bottle?
Which
Hey,
kid? We got a bunch of them. They're everywhere.
but like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, that's
No,
when
I was just-
marriage.
I was adding to the chaos.
Yes,
like
that's
which
when
sport,
marriage-
which season, all of it. Yeah.
Yes, like what time is the game? What? There's also a track meet today? Okay. Can you change that dirty diaper?
Yes.
And can you go to the store and get me an energy drink on your way home?
But it does. It becomes very transactional. And not that you don't love them, but like you've got responsibilities, right? And it gets even more complicated as
But the busier you get, jobs, kids, responsibilities, cleaning the house, just stuff like that. It's this thing where your marriage is like so in love, and then you just like are in this season where your marriage is just business. Yeah. You're just handling things together. Not that you're roommates, because I think you still love each other. This is not like when your marriage is like, is your marriage in heaven or is your marriage in hell? You can just answer that question in your head right now. But I would say your marriage is not necessarily in hell when you're just doing business. But it's like, how do you get back to love when marriage does become business? Because it happens. It's a seasonal thing.
when it's not like you can get rid of all of the responsibilities that you've had. So you'll still have those, but then taking just a little bit of time each day to making sure that you guys stay connected.
Yes, and showing empathy is also how you show honor. But are we talking about honor yet?
No, not yet.
Okay,
Shall we? Let's do it.
I don't know.
Let's go. Let's talk about honor.
Okay.
That's the second point.
The second point was more high fives,
Yeah.
less eye rolls.
And this one was very specifically for Shelly because she is
Yes.
the queen
Of high fives.
of eye rolls
And high fives.
and high fives. And it
I
just
really
depends
am.
on whatever end
I
of the
can
spectrum.
roll my eyes for so
I'm pretty
long.
sure that when Shelly rolls her eyes, she sees like the back of her brain. I don't know
Yes.
what the scientific
And
term
I grew
there
up
is.
getting slapped so much for eye rolling my mom. I don't even know how I still have eyes in my head, but I do. Here they are.
It's impressive. So less eye rolls, more high fives.
Yes, less eye rolls, more high fives. Try to think about that tomorrow when you wake up and your spouse says something stupid, or you're just like, how did you forget that? Like, you're so awesome. Just love you, you know?
Okay.
But
don't
honestly,
do that.
in marriage, more high fives, less
Because
eye
what is the
rolls.
difference? The high fives would be honor, and then
And
the eye
teamwork.
rolls would be dishonor. correct?
Dishonor, absolutely. High fives are honor, eye rolls are dishonor, but it's also high five. When you're high fiving someone, it's teamwork. Like, yes, we just did that. Great idea. You know, it's good to do that.
It is.
It is.
Make sure you land the high five though. Listen, trick,
Yeah, here's a trick.
bonus. Look at the elbow. Always,
You'll never
always,
miss. You'll never miss.
If you watch the elbow, stick it up. Just watch the elbow.
Yeah.
Boom.
If you look at the
Every
elbow,
time.
you'll never miss a high five.
Do you guys know that? You
Little
learned
secret.
one thing at Power Couples. It was to watch elbows. That's weird.
And more high fives.
Yes.
And less eye rolls.
Obviously.
But let's talk about honor. Because honor is when, okay, so we got your marriage is like, oh my God, yeah, we're in love. Oh, we're doing business. We're doing business. Our marriage is all business. Oh, maybe we're back to love. And then you might scoop down and you're on the Texas Giant, you know, where it does the big. And you're like, what just happened? I kind of hate you. You go through these seasons of like, I love you.
Hate is such a strong word. Can we
I
do
don't
something?
like you. Is that
Yes,
better? I
that's
don't
better.
like you. And here's the thing, we stop honoring one another. Yeah. When we stop honoring one another, it's like a huge problem. Because dishonor leads to resentment. Resentment leads to contempt. And once your marriage hits contempt, it's down the drain unless you have Jesus right by your side.
Contempt
honestly.
is almost the point of no return in a relationship.
is.
I
It's
mean,
like-
based on our experience, and generally when people come to us, that's when they come to us is like when they're at the state of contempt.
Yeah.
And then you feel helpless because
And
there's
with
very little you
marriage,
can
it's
do.
like happily ever learning.
Yeah.
Because you'll never know what I'm thinking and you'll never be able to read my mind. It's happily ever learning.
What? That's not true. You say everything that you think, and you're always so clear about your thoughts, and I never have to
You
wonder.
know why? That's because I'm very assertive.
I'm
and
also
assertive communicators have the
Very
best
sarcastic. but
marriages.
There
They have
you
the
go.
best marriages because
Yeah.
I don't expect you to read
I
my
still
mind.
don't
I'm
know
gonna
what you're
tell you.
thinking, even though, like, you've told me. I don't know. Can we be honest, right? Like, she told me what she said she was thinking, but I don't even know if that's actually what she was thinking, because then when you start working through it, you find out that what she was thinking and what she said was two different things.
But can I tell you how to honor someone?
Why didn't you want to? You didn't want
Yeah,
to.
can I tell you how to honor someone? When your spouse walks in the door, there's a lot of things going through your mind. I've been home all day. He's been at work all day. I haven't had a break from the kids. Is he going to take the trash out the second he walks in? Like, you know what I'm saying? There's things that are going on. But here's what needs to happen. Oh my gosh, babe. You look exhausted.
I am
How was your day?
terrible.
I'm so sorry that you had a terrible day.
Are we just doing role playing?
I don't know. I'm just
Okay.
like, I'm trying to take it back this way. But
Actually, we'll do this for
Yeah.
real. You can do the whole thing. Go ahead, ask the question.
how was your day?
Good.
Okay, you look tired.
Okay.
Did everything go good at work today?
It was good.
It was good?
That's real life.
Okay, well, why don't you do you need to take some time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
And then from there, Chris might go take a little mini nap or something like that because he just needs like a reset, you know? And then he comes out and he's like all happy, kind of, and he's ready to do stuff with
For
the
the most part,
family.
yes.
And take the boys to the gym. But the thing is, empathy. 5 minutes of empathy, which doesn't have to look like that cheesy conversation we just had. 5 minutes of empathy for your spouse can restore honor. That's what I'm saying. When you take 5 minutes to actually put yourself in your spouse's shoes, dang, they have been at work all day. Maybe they don't like the people they work with. Maybe everything didn't go their way and they just really need a break. Or you come in and maybe your wife's exhausted from work and you see that there's dishes in the sink and then food has to be cooked and all of these things. Empathy in those moments goes a long way in marriage because it restores honor that can very easily be lost when marriage is business. When you're in love, you can overlook so many things. Have you guys seen a teenager in love?
And then ask them why. Ask them why.
Ask them, why do you love that person?
He's so cute.
Because I just do. And that's where we started, right? But then we're like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm having trouble remembering why I love you. You know what I'm saying? And so honor brings you back. Empathy brings you back. And that's what you got to do to be a power couple.
Yep. I kind of think the outcome of that, like as far as the empathy and listening to them. So it says in the book of Ephesians, it talks about, husbands, love your wives. And then it says for the wives to respect your husbands. And I think that is so intentional. I think that obviously when you're trying to communicate to a female, like there's very much the emotional aspect of it, the feeling aspect of it, and the nurturing aspect of it, which would be the love. And then towards the male from the spouse, the husband from the spouse, the wife, I think the respect thing just goes so far with your husband. And so I think ultimately the empathy, that is the goal, to try to figure out how to communicate them, what it is that's lacking, and how you can fill that
What's
void.
different about love? Because like we love our brother, we love our sister, we love our kids, we love our mom and dad. But the love in a marriage is so much deeper and vulnerable because of intimacy and becoming one. Yeah. And so you cannot be vulnerable with someone that you're upset with. And I think vulnerability is something that every single marriage has to have. And when you have vulnerability, you automatically have honor, automatically have empathy. It's just like all of these things fall into place when you take the time to make that happen. Does that make sense?
Very much.
And taking the time to make it happen speaks of work. How many of you understand, like, if we go to work, we have to work to succeed, right? We climb the ladder, we do all the things at work. And for some reason in culture, we think that marriage is the one thing we don't have to work at, but somehow it's going to succeed.
Yep. Everything else in life, we understand the concept of work
Yeah.
and effort is what will produce results. And yet when it comes to relationships, so often we're just like, oh, well, we're in love, so it's fine. It's going to be
Well,
good.
I mean, we get married, and then we stop working at it, and then we wonder why our marriage isn't working, and then we're just like, my spouse isn't working. This isn't working for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, you got to work for your marriage. Like, it's not an easy thing, but it's such a blessing, and it's so worth it, you know, just to fight with each other, for each other, and for your marriage.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So serving, not selfishness, more high fives, less eye rolls.
Yes.
All right.
I'm working on it.
Working on it?
Working on it right now.
Is that the effort you were talking about just then? I can't see her. I'm trying
I
to
said
make
I'm
sure.
working on it.
Okay.
Because
Do you
I'm
have any-
working to succeed.
Do you have any closing thoughts on
Yeah, I'm trying to
marriage?
read this, but you keep talking to me.
I know, because I'm trying to wrap it up because we said we weren't going to go long.
I know, but it's only 7:09.
That doesn't
I just
mean-
want to make sure I'm not missing something,
Okay.
honestly.
We need Jeopardy music, so Shelly
No.
can... I'm just kidding.
Just talk for like 1 minute.
I've already done this. I've already said my words for the day. I'm out of them. Have you...
Oh, yes. When we
Okay.
were talking about serving and being selfish.
Yeah.
See, I knew. It's what is your motivation? Are you motivated by selfishness or are you motivated by servanthood? And that's how you decide. Like when you wake up in the morning, like what's your motivation? I mean, for all of us, I feel like it's definitely selfishness. Yeah. But we're trying to change that, right? We're trying to change that.
Well, it's like just because something is the way, maybe your first thought or your first inclination doesn't mean that that's the way. For example, like I don't like working out or going to the gym, but you kind of, again, make yourself do something like that. I'm sure people don't like dieting, but you make yourself do something like that. Spiritual disciplines just the same. Like they're difficult, and so because they're difficult, we make ourselves do them, and then we see the results of them. And so I think when it comes to selfishness, it's like, yeah, though that's our natural inclination, we choose to serve instead, and then even though it may be difficult, we see the outcome or the fruit of that.
No, that's so true. And I mean, I guess just to end it, I just want to give you guys like a little rapid fire on like if your marriage is like business, or if your marriage is in hell, or if you just want to like avoid it from happening. I have just a few little pointers that I wanted to give you.
Are you going to wrap them?
I'm not,
Dang.
but I could have if I would have known like yesterday.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say the first thing is be honest in the most loving way.
That's the most important part.
Yes.
It's not always what you say, it's
Yes.
how you say what you say. And I
Yes.
think in marriage sometimes, or like deep vulnerable relationships, the assumption is, well, I can say whatever I need to say because they need to know. And that is true, but how you say what you say is as important
so
as what
important.
you say.
Number 2 is avoid mental rabbit holes. What that means is getting upset in your head about something that hasn't even happened. And girls are the worst at this.
For example, when you have a dream about something that I did that
Yes!
not even reality.
Anybody else? Have you like legit been mad at your spouse
And
because you had a
then
dream? That
She
they did
wakes up the
something?
next day mad at me for something I didn't do,
I
like fake me
literally
did.
had a dream I was getting chased down by a bear and about to get eaten, and you were playing poker with a rabbit.
And I'm the problem.
And I woke up and I was like, I can't believe. He's like, what is going on? I'm like, I had a dream last night that I was literally about to get eaten by a bear and you were playing poker with a rabbit. And he was like, okay. And I was like, I can't believe you would do that. He's like, but I didn't do it, but you did. And you would. That's the thing. And here comes the rabbit hole.
Time out. Hold up. If a rabbit really wanted to play poker, how are you going to pass up on that
I
opportunity?
don't know, but remember that one dream I also had that you fed me to a shark in front of the whole church?
Was it a baby shark?
It wasn't a baby shark. That was so sad.
And again, I'm the problem.
And the church watched it.
So the rabbit
They
hole
watched
thing is like very literal for you, right? The rabbit.
Right.
Okay.
But avoid mental rabbit holes. And here's the thing. If the trash is overflowing, he didn't do it on purpose. He likes to just cram it in there to make more space and to
called
save money.
efficiency.
Efficiency. So you don't have to buy more trash bags.
That's right. What else? Rapid fire. Let's go.
Okay, that was my rapid. Okay, be honest in the most loving way. Avoid mental rabbit holes. The third one is don't share your struggles with the opposite sex. And the reason I say that is because the number one reason for divorce for so many years has been money and communication.
Yep.
Until last year, it's infidelity. And that's because of lack of boundaries.
So I heard.
It's a lack of
I
boundaries.
don't remember the exact number, but it's a very unfortunate statistic. Somewhere in the range of 40 or 50% of all divorce filings include the word Facebook or social media or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. It's like, oh, well, now I can just easily talk to somebody that I shouldn't be talking to.
It's
about
because you're being
the
vulnerable
problems.
with someone other than your spouse.
Correct.
Don't do that. So don't share your feelings with someone of the opposite
Like,
sex.
if you're a dude, find a dude that you can confide
Well,
in
and here's the
talk
thing.
to.
If your marriage is going through something, please come talk to us because we have so many resources we can give you from xomarriage.com. They literally will counsel with you. They will do, I mean, it's amazing.
really
There's so many blogs, so many videos you can watch. It's just amazing. And so you can get marriage help. I will personally give you the resources. They're free and they're amazing. So if you need any of that, please, 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 please.
That's such a good one.
Feel bad about saying it.
Talk about it, but be selective with who you talk
Be
about.
selective with who. If you're having marriage problems or your spouse is bothering you and you want to talk to someone about it, first of all, they need to be the same sex. So knowing that they're the same sex, then you need to ask yourself 3 questions. Does this person love me? Does this person love God? And does this person love my spouse? If the answer is not yes to all 3 of those questions, do not talk to that person about your marriage. Yeah. Because they're not going to be for your marriage. They're just going to be for you. And the last thing we need is a selfish person telling us that we need to be more selfish in our marriage.
And they just tell us that we need to be happy, right?
Absolutely.
Just be happy.
And then, like, who can I talk to? Oh, be happy.
Yeah.
Please. Okay. Yeah. Show me that in the
All right,
Bible.
last one. Come
Okay.
on, last one.
So who can I talk to? And then also, do you have a dead marriage? Dead marriage, I would say 5 minutes of empathy a day can resurrect your dead marriage. And I think that's it. Should I share this?
Do it.
Okay. This
Okay, this is funny. We're gonna end
I
on
watched
this.
a lot. Yeah, we'll end on this. I read a lot of statistics on what is attractive to a man and what is attractive to a woman. And so they did this survey where women were blindfolded and they actually put different things right under their nose for them to smell. And some of them were cologne, some of them were just like really good things, and some of them were actually male sweat. And the male sweat got the most reaction, and they're like, oh my gosh, yes, like that's the smell. And it was man sweat. And men, I know right now what you're thinking is not what a woman is thinking right now, because she loved the smell of man sweat. They said, what does it remind you of? And they said, my husband cleaning the house.
This is garbage.
Not at all what the man was thinking she was going to be thinking of. So men, my advice to you, our last thing to be a power couple is you are one clean house away from the night of your life.
And just like that, the sales of Mr. Clean went through the roof.
I'll clean up for you.
You know what we should have done?
Like you want me to.
Stop. Come here. We should have
That's
had like a product display like stadium or thing, out front and sold cleaning supplies on the way out. We could
I'm
have
just
mopped
saying.
up, made a killing.
One clean house away
Yeah.
from the night of your life. That's great.
Yes.
Guys, enjoy Power Couples. If you haven't taken your picture, take it. Get some more food. Mingle with people.
Yeah.
And we'll see you guys in the morning.
Can I pray for us real quick?
Please.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
pray. Father, thank you so much for this night. Thank you for this time to spend together, God, talking about just couples, relationships, marriages. God, all of these, God, we believe that you are the designer of them, the creator. It was your intention. You looked at man and you said it is not good for him to be alone. And so you gave him woman, God, to be by his side, not behind him, not in front of him, but beside him. And so, God, I pray that you would just help us to live these relationships out in a way that honors you, that goes back to what it is that you intended. God, that you would help us to be less selfish and more serving in our relationships, that we would find ways to honor each other, to listen to each other, to be empathetic towards each other. God, and ultimately just live relationships in the way that you lived for us, that you came not to be served, but to serve and to give your life. God, help us to do that. Help us to be power couples. In Jesus' incredible name we pray. Amen.
Hey, guys, if